Welcome everyone to the Patchnotes rundown of patch 8.06. I'm super excited to present it to you because we have plenty of new content you can be excited about. So let's get started. First of all, there's a new Legion TD2 website. You can check out your stats or your in-game behavior. Go check out LTD2 app. I will link down in the description. Same with the other website, we have LTD2 stats. Next on, we have a new badge for all the esports contributors. Thanks a lot from my side as well to every other of them to keep up the competitive Legion scene and using a lot of energy and passion to maintain competitive Legion as it is at the moment. Finally, we do have a new unit entering the battlefield, and this is the Gatling Gun and the Vulcan Cannon. Or cannon, sorry. I'm super happy to see the step moving away from legions and just going for single units, because this is a unit that does not belong to any legion, but you can only play with any sort of mastermind, chaos, or hybrid. I think this is great, especially with the reasoning that like this, it can put out units a lot faster and more frequent. So we will have new content more often, and we will have changes to the game, a lot more. So I really like the approach. The unit is a tier 5 unit, I've heard from Discord. Let's look at the base unit, the Gatling Gun. We have gold cost of 180, 950 health, which is not a lot at all for such a expensive unit, 31 damage, and an attack speed of 2.0, which is, if I'm right, the highest base attack speed any other unit has. Range is 800, so it's the largest range on top with Halo and Assyria, if I'm correct. Super long range, super fast, so this is gonna get interesting. Typing is Pearson fortified. And here comes the trick with it. You do have an ability. First of all, it cannot move. So at the start of your game, it will stand right where it is, and you might be able to use it with other units to kite around it and make the second part of the ability happen, which is attacks up to 100% faster the closer the target is. So what you want to do is you kite the units around it without actually letting it touch the unit, because it's a glass cannon, as we see 950 HP. You want to kite the wave around it, but as close to the unit as possible, which is going to be a lot of testing involved, I would assume. And to increase the attack speed even more, just imagine 100% more attack speed, which would put it to 4.0 attacks per second. You have Dark Mages, you do have APS, MPS. This is going to be a real machine gun. I'm looking forward to see people testing. I'm a bit worried it might be broken, but that's probably the thing with most units. A mole is going to be a good unit to counter it though. The upgrade is the Vulcan Cannon. It costs 340 upgrade costs, has a lot more HP, which I'm happy about. 80 damage, again 2.0 attacks per second and 800 range, same typing obviously. And the only change in the ability is that it can get up to 130 additional attack speed. Like 130% additional attack speed. I didn't test it yet. Maybe I'm gonna do a video about testing it, or I'm just using it in the stream. I don't know yet how my schedule is gonna be, but this looks super interesting. I would love to test it. I think a lot of sandboxes needed, but there's gonna be a poor soul to test it, and then everybody's gonna copy it. So yeah, really looking forward to see the unit in action. I'm really excited about it. And let's be honest, come on, this design here looks insanely cool. Like the card already is worth to play it. We're coming from one insane feature to the next one, and I think, let's be honest, those two skins are like getting up into the top 3 or top 5 of the best skins in the game already. Look at that dino. Holy shit, this skin is insane, and I really hope it's like the most expensive price level, because this is really a unique skin you want to have because it looks so great. I'm really looking forward to invest my premium essence to buy those 2 new skins and have a look at them in game. So great work on that curring. We do have plenty of improvement and fixes, especially like card drop chances. We do have a new overview to see how much gold you get in total if you sell more units at once. For example, with Pawn Shop, you do have a Mythium counter now, same as the gold counter, and a lot of other small fixes we don't want to talk about more because we're interested in the gameplay change. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of the meta at the moment because a lot of late game units are just broken and early game units are getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. So I'm happy to see a lot of changes acting against this in some way already. I still think this is not going to break the behavior players, or especially high elo players, are going to play the game at the moment. But I think the RNG is reduced since some of those insane late game scaling units are getting nerfed. First of all, we do see the king health is increased by 5% with 20. I think this is a good step because 20 is a real boss wave at the moment. It's really hard to hold with certain combos. So I like this change here. Next on, which is hurting me a bit because I feel like maybe I should have not put Sacrifice in the top 1 Legion spell tier list because I think it's not broken. It's just very strong because it's versatile and you can play around it. But now it's getting nerfed. I think there was no nerf needed. Sacrifice was an insane good spell, but just due to the fact that if you can abuse it, like if you are very high skilled, Sacrifice is going to be a very good spell. So I didn't see the problem overall with the spell, but I think 5 gold, yes, it's going to hurt a bit, but it's still going to be a very strong spell to use. I have a different opinion about Sorcerer. I do like the buff, but on the other hand, I do not really see the buff needed because there's 2 types of Sorcerer units. There's Starcaller and Sorcerers like going nuts with it, maybe even Asteria because of the potential damage. And then I feel like most other units aren't as strong with it as you might think, or are just not as wished as a target for Sorcerer. So I think there's like, especially the Starcaller, which is like the best target for Sorcerer by far, and then there's like a long time nothing. So I don't know if you want to buff the Starcaller with Sorcerer even more, and those other units won't really be affected by this a lot. So I think it's okay to buff Sorcerer because overall it's weak, besides Starcaller. One change I really think is insanely interesting, and I'm a bit worried on how this is going to change the early game meta, or maybe not worried is the right word, more like I'm excited to see what's going to happen, because reds now gain 11 instead of 10 Mythium. This might sound super small, but if you think about a worker is producing 1 Mythium every 10 seconds, you just gain extra 10 seconds with a red. So especially in the first few waves, let's say the first 8 waves, a red is going to be insanely powerful now for you to produce Mythium and generate that resource. We have some small improvements on the Chain Fist and Oathbreaker behavior when getting raged. I don't think this is going to change too much. I do like the approach to make it more consistent though. Junior Anglermen are getting now 1.75 mana per dying unit around it. We've talked about Angler and Kingpins in my last Patchnotes rundown video already. I told you that I think people are gonna play it wrong. People are caring too much about stacks, and I think that Angler are really strong at the moment. I kind of like it still though. I don't like it in terms of, okay, you can get now Angler early on, pump them to those 75 stacks you can get, and then you have insane Kingpins already. But I do like that the power is getting shifted a bit from the boar towards the Kingpin again, because boar is just too dominant at the moment. And now finally, we have more buffs to the Aqua Spirit and to the Fire Elemental. I am a big fan of the Fire Elemental, as you might know, especially for like me playing it throughout whole season 3 and 4 as main opener. Big fan of it. I really like the early game power you can get with it if you know how to play it, but at the moment it's just way too weak. Even on 8 you have Aqua combo, you leak insanely hard against them all, especially if you add a Hermit on this. So I like small buffs on the Aqua. I hope more buffs are gonna come, but I already love that we're going into a direction where Aqua Spirit is gonna be a very strong opener again. We do have small buffs to Elite and Trinity Archer. I think it's fine. I think they're really weak at the moment. So yeah, love it. It's gonna change a bit, so you're gonna get it a bit more into the pierce damage dealer. I think there's just better ones out there at the moment still. With Disciple, for example, having the additional burst, you have the Daphnes being very strong with several other targets, several other units. So I think Elite Archers are still going to be like average to play with, but in the right combo, for example, with APS and insane tanks, I think they can pop off. More nerfs to Disciple and Starcaller. I mean, they're getting buffed 3 times in a row. Obviously, people are gonna sometimes start using it, abusing it, maybe even. So now HP nerfs are needed. I'm happy to see HP nerfs rather than damage nerfs, because I think Disciple is a high damage long range carry, and it is good like this. So I'm happy to only see HP nerfs. It's still gonna impact how you play Disciples a bit, because, for example, those 50 HP might already change some early game fight worker possibilities, but I think it's still a very good late game unit. One of the changes I'm not that happy about is the Priestess. Priestess, 3rd buff in a row. Asteria, 3rd buff in a row, I think, or maybe it was only the Priestess that getting buffed 3 times, but Asteria 2 times at least. And the problem with Asteria is that it is fun to play, but Asteria and Priestess are always only fun for one person in the game. It's either the person playing in it and always getting the seal out last second, or it is the person sending against it and always killing the Asteria before it's getting out the next deal. So I'm not a big fan of it. It is high skill, high reward, but it's also very very depending on RNG. Sometimes you just have one unit moving more to the right or the left and having your Asteria die and live like this. So I'm not biggest fan of the unit. I don't really need it in Hydro games again, so I hope it's not gonna get into a stage where it is as broken as it has been some time ago. Holy Avenger and Sovereign. Finally, both of them are getting nerfed. They both get more HP, but they get less damage reduction. What's it gonna change? I think the Sovereign and Holy Avenger are gonna be around the same on normal waves, on normal sense, I would say. So I think they're gonna be more or less behave the same, but it is a big nerf for the Avenger or the Sovereign with the damage reduction, because with 4 eyes, the HP bar almost didn't move because of all this damage reduction. And I think now this is gonna happen a lot more efficient, and it won't out heal 10 units at the same time. So I'm really happy to see this. I think it is a good nerf. I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to be all that is needed. It might be even more, especially with a Sovereign. But the unit is way too dominant, especially with the Butcher. Actually, only with lifesteal and attack speed. So happy to see some changes finally. Way too late in my eyes. Another unit that finally got changed on the right side is the Boar and the Red Eyes, now having less attack speed reduction when hitting the wave with their splash damage. Those are quite drastical changes, right? We reduce the attack speed slow to 66% of what it has been, to 2/3. I do like it. maybe now you could revert the HP nerfs you had last patch. Because I think the HP was fine, the ability was the problem. I don't know if this is like out of it now, because the units are still gonna be insane tanks, the splash damage is still synergizing very well with other units, but this has an insane impact you will discover in games. Last but not least, Mercenaries. We have Ghost Knight getting another buff. Holy shit. Ghost Knight already felt really good last patch. I think the time span between last patch and this patch is very small for people to discover that it's actually strong. Another 100 HP for a Ghost Knight, 240 Mythium. You sometimes get it on 8, you sometimes get it on 9 or 10 or 11, whatever. Dude, this is a monster. I'm really afraid of the Ghost Knight. So, I hope it's not as OP, and I hope there's not gonna be like a Ghost Knight 8 meta. And we do have the Maccabeus getting another 10 HP, 10 damage buff. We had 10 damage already last patch, another 10 damage this patch, and those 5% HP on the king won't really matter a lot now, because it has 100 DPS buff with only those 10 damage point it gets. This is insane. Wave 20 is already critical in my eyes, because you do have those units that are just OP against it, namely Fatalizer, Halo, insane Arcane Tank, the Sorath. And then you do have all those other units that are just trash against it, and you just outroll on wave 20. So I would still love to say that I think wave 20 and 21 are too RNG based on your role, and you should like somehow fix this. And now it's getting even more into, okay, you either win on 19 with your bad 20 roll, or you just die. So yeah, I think some sort of rebalancing of rework has to happen on wave 2021, but that's the topic for another time. Overall, I like the patch. We do have good balance changes. We do have insane content with some nice improvements. We have awesome skins. We do have a very nice, cool unit, and I'm really looking forward to see the patch come live in the week of December 6th till December 10th. Good luck in ranked games, and I hope you enjoyed the video.